law of empowerment. And I'm just going to go in and share the video. That'll be the easiest so that we can all watch that. Oops, you don't want to see that. And you don't want to see my chat. This is what we want. So can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
The law of empowerment. And the law of empowerment says only secure leaders give power to others. Only secure leaders give power to others. In your notes, the people's capacity to achieve is determined by their leaders' willingness and ability to empower. Let me illustrate. Every year, I spend time with my nonprofit organization, Equip, traveling internationally. And as I travel to many countries, I teach thousands upon thousands of leaders. What I have noticed, especially in developing countries around the world, is I've noticed that the person in power, the person that has a leadership position, instead of empowering others, and instead of sharing with others, and instead of including others and developing a leadership team, the person in a leadership position, instead of raising up people, in developing countries most often, they try to push down people. Let me illustrate. Come on up here for a moment. My name's John. What's your name?
David.
David, come on up here beside me. Let me just illustrate this with David. By the way, David, I wanted to pick out somebody good looking.
I'm going to sit down.
No. No. I just looked around and said, I got to get a good looking guy for this. Okay, now, watch this, David. What I found is too many leaders, and by the way, I don't want to stop here, but not only in developing countries, in America, I see this happen all the time. Leaders who have power and have position, taking somebody like David. Let's say I'm the leader, I got the power, I got the position. Here's what I see happening all the time, where we take them and we try to push them down. Okay, come on, David, cooperate.
Sorry.
David's theme song is I Shall Not Be Moved. So these leaders, they push them down. You follow me? And their whole thing is, I got to keep pushing my people down. I got to push them down. By the way, have you noticed something? While I'm pushing David down, what's happening to me? I'm going down with him. That's the way it always works, friend. Listen, if you're a leader and you push people down, you just go down with them. It's only a matter of time. Just as if I take David and I start developing him and I say, I'm going to lift him up and I'm going to get him up to a higher level. Now, notice now what happens? When I start lifting David up, what happens? I go up with him. Here's what I want you to understand as a leader. You either go up with your people or you go down with your people. And this idea of somehow I'm going to protect my position, I'm going to push people down. What we don't realize is it eventually is our downfall also. By the way, thanks, David.
Thank you.
You did a great job, didn't he, huh? Give him a hand. He did a great job. Okay, now. David, you and I have been practicing that for months, and boy, it worked out really well. Okay. Now. So you ask yourself the question. I ask myself this question all the time. Again, when I travel and I see this happening in other countries, I ask myself, why is it that the leader insists on somehow being way above his or her people and always is trying to kind of keep everybody, I don't know, they have this kind of like, the best way I explain it, almost like a king of the hill mentality. And I got to be on top. Why is it that people fail to empower people and give them the energy and the permission and the environment that will help them to be growing and be great leaders themselves? I think there are several reasons we need to discuss quickly. One of the reasons I think we fail as leaders to empower others is insecurity. You show me an insecure leader and I'll show you somebody that will never empower anybody. In fact, let me tell you what's never happened. An insecure leader has never empowered anyone because they're too insecure. They're afraid that somebody else will get their job. What happens if I give somebody a little bit of empowerment and they do a better job than me? Whoa! And that insecurity constantly causes leaders to keep pushing people down. Let me just say this, and then I'll move on real quickly, because I'll start to show my bias, and I don't want to do that. One of the worst days of your life is to be in any organization where you have to follow an insecure leader. Trust me. It's like walking handcuffed through a landmine. It's only a matter of time till they'll blow you and them up together. Insecurity. Insecure leaders do not empower other people. Another reason I think we fail to empower others is a desire for job security. I do know people who, I don't think they're insecure, they just want to keep their job. They're saying, well, I don't know if I want to train and empower somebody, they may take my job away from me. Now, what I've always taught, especially in my inner circle, who I've taught all to be leaders, I've always told them it's their job to work themselves out of a job. My thing is equip and train people to take your job. And let me tell you something. If you equip somebody to take your job and you train them, here's the way this works. If you work your way out of a job, I'll give you another one. I've had key inner circle members that have had 7 or 8 positions in a period of maybe 13, 14 years with me. I mean, they've gone from this one to another because they train and empower, and then they've done that, so they don't need to run that, so they go over and run another area. I have a wonderful friend of mine who's been with me for over 20 years, Dan Ryland. Little that man, I bet you he has worked himself out of at least a dozen jobs in 20 plus years of being with me. You know what I say to my staff is, you work yourself out of a job, I'll give you another one. In fact, here's the way it works with me. If you can't work yourself out of a job, you're smart, aren't you? I'll take the one away from you. You'll lose the job if you can't train someone else to do the job. But I think sometimes we just don't want anybody else to take our job. Another reason I think we fail to empower people is a bad experience. In other words, I'll bet everyone in the studio, and I'll bet everyone listening to this leadership training tape, I'll bet every one of us have had a time where we've trained somebody. I mean, you've worked hard, you poured your life into them, you trained them, and then it turned out bad. They didn't do a good, they left the company, they left you, they hurt you, they backstabbed you, they did all kind of, how many of you have ever had a bad experience trying to train someone? Raise your hand. Oh yeah, 100% in the studio. How many of you are sitting beside that person today? Now, see, you've learned. Now your hand doesn't go up anymore. You know better. You know better. Okay, now, a lot of times, just a bad experience. I've had that happen to me. I can remember as a young leader taking a very promising young guy, younger than me. I was already in my 20s, so he was really young. And pouring my life into him for about 3 years, and only to have him just mess up. And I remember I said to myself, I'm never going to do this again. I am never going to do this again. I'm done training people. In fact, I thought, when I hire people from now on, instead of pouring my life into them, I'm going to keep them at a distance. And for the next 6 months, when I brought a couple people on my staff, I kept at a distance. And then one day I realized that if you don't allow a person to get close to you, and if you don't pour your life into them, the good news is they probably won't hurt you. But the bad news is they'll never help you. They'll never be able to come alongside of you and truly alliance and partner with you. But a bad experience. A lot of times we just have bad experiences. I'm never going to do that again. And so therefore, we fail to empower people. Number 4, ego. Just ego. Just the fact, hey, a lot of times we don't empower anybody because we want all the credit. Isn't that true? Yeah, we think, my goodness, if I empower this team, they're going to get some of the credit, and I'd like to have it all. Hello? Huh? Number 5, codependency. I think sometimes we are codependent with others. In other words, basically what we're saying is I need you and I want to keep you close to it. If I empower you, I might free you up to let you go. And I put in there because it's a true statement, you can't lead people if you need people. Now, don't take that statement to the extreme. Don't go back and say, boy, I don't even like people. This is awesome. I have the first quality of being a great leader. No. If you need them, and the reason you can't lead them if you need them is if you truly need them in a codependent way, you'll never make the hard decisions because you need their approval too much. By the way, as I close out the law of empowerment, I just want to say to you that this has been a law that has been very important to me since I've turned 50 and now much older. I've come to the conclusion for me, now this is just for me, that my greatest joy and my greatest fulfillment is in adding value to others. And I can say at this stage of my life, other people's success brings me more joy than my own success. And I don't mean that wrong, because I still like to hit the ball out of the park. And every once in a while I get the chance to hit the ball out of the park. But to train and teach someone else to do that, it's a greater joy. You know what? I kind of know what I can do. But when I pour my life into others and I see what they can do, it begins to compound as far as the return. It begins to, instead of to add, it begins to multiply. And so I kind of close this law by saying that I have found that adding value to people is very important to me. And I basically try to guide my life so that every day I can positively take people to another level. And I found three things about adding value to people that is just absolutely huge. And the first thing I found about adding value to people is this: that you can only add value to people if you truly value people. If I don't value you as a leader, I'll manipulate you instead of motivate you. And it's never right. So the only way that I can ever add value to you is truly value you. And secondly, I only can add value to people when I know and relate to what they value. I've got to know and relate to what they value, because I can't add value to them if I'm on a different page. I've got to know what their interests are and what their goals and mission and passion is. Those are important. So I can only add value to you if I know and relate to what you value. And thirdly, I can only add value to you and to others when I make myself more valuable. In other words, I've got to keep growing. Because if I don't keep growing, I cannot pass on to you what I'm learning, because you cannot give what you do not have. So how do I stretch you? By stretching myself first. How do I add value to you? By adding value to myself first. How do I grow you? By growing myself first. By making myself more valuable, then I can add value to you. And that's what the law of empowerment is all about. Taking people to a higher level than they would have ever gone on their own. But because you willed it and gave permission to it, you empower them. Law number 13.
Whoops.
The law of reproduction. The law of reproduction
Well, now I've
says
got to find
we
that
teach
so I
what
can
we
get rid
know,
of
what
that.
we reproduce.
I thought I'd get rid of it. Okay, here we are. Hey, everybody. We are back, and I know that Teresa is on her way, but she's not here yet. So let's go into some of the questions. And Robert or Brenda, do you want to share a question?
Robert.
Okay, the first question was, how have you helped others grow as leaders?
How have you helped others grow as leaders? Who wants to, anybody want to start off here? Oh, I can hang up my phone now. Hold on. Just noticed that I'm on a webinar there. Who would like to go first? So, Michael.
Yeah, just on a short note, I've helped them by encouragement, tactful encouragement, and showing them that I'm attentive to what they're trying to do. But yeah, right now that's my my response right now.
That's a good start. Robert, how about you?
I often see greater potential in others than they see in themselves, or I see in myself even. And so pointing that out and challenging them to go for it is often a good way for them to develop.
Absolutely. Brenda.
Give them a responsibility, task, or things to do.
Yeah, think of all the times John Drennan's done that with all of us too. And now, well, even John Hoffman encourages us to take action. But I love, reaching out and yeah, helping people even on a daily basis, empowering people to do things themselves, for example, because a lot of people don't get that when they're at work. They're always told what to do, and the people that work in those 9 to 5 jobs, we've sometimes got to encourage them to step out and do something. So Bridget, next.
I was going to say all of those, but believing in them. And like Robert said, oftentimes they don't believe in themselves. So
Mhm.
many people just need to know that you believe in them and that you're there to help them.
Absolutely. We're there to help them and anytime they need it, right? Regina.
Celebrating their wins.
Oh yeah, that's a big one, especially in this company, right?
Yes.
A lot of people at convention, and I have done it before, I will have to admit, where you don't want to go in until after the recognition. That's a time we can take later at dinner or whatever, until we're the one on stage. And then don't you wish that place was full? And I've learned that one, and we are there to recognize those, because someday we will be on stage and we want them to be there for us too. So that's a great way to lift people up, is be there for them when they're being recognized. Darren.
Hey guys, good evening. I'm actually working on myself to learn how to lead myself so that I can trust myself to empower others. Because if I'm walking around blind and I'm just leading the blind, so I'm really emphasizing on leading myself, learning how to follow the right leaders and making myself accountable so that I can be able to lead and do it with conviction and confidence. So that's where I'm at now. This is my point of emphasis right now in my life.
Absolutely, I love it. Yeah, if empowering ourselves, it's uncomfortable, and a lot of times we misunderstand empowering ourselves or even giving recognition to ourselves as being maybe arrogant or something, and that's something we need to get over. We need to, as we climb, the crabs are going to try to pull us back down. And we've all heard that story. And as soon as you feel that pressure from people pulling you back down, that's when you know you're on the right track. That's what I've learned. That's when you know you are on the right track. So I love it. And well, that's a perfect timing for Mr. John Hoffman Johnson to join us. Teresa, you're muted.
All right, let me change my name.
There you go. We just finished the first question about empowering others. And go ahead, Brenda, you wanted, what was the next question? I don't see where. Oh,
Robert.
Oh, Robert. Robert.
How did you encourage someone to grow is what I wrote down.
So Teresa, do you want to add in here?
How do you, the question is, how do you encourage someone to grow?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess there are a number of ways you can do that. First of all, I think that you have to meet people initially where they are.
Mm-hmm.
You have to meet them where they are. And then you can work to grow them, to move them along gradually. Sometimes we as leaders, we want people to run real fast, and they don't necessarily want to run real fast. They want to walk. And that's why I like to say, we'll run as fast as you want to run, but we'll also walk as slow as you want to walk. And so to encourage them to give me the question again, Robert. I want to make sure I'm repeating it correctly.
How did you encourage someone to grow?
Oh, okay.
I think it was worded differently, but that's what I wrote down.
How do you encourage someone to grow? Again, meeting them where they are, but also finding out what is it that they want and help them create a path towards getting to their ultimate destination. Because it's really not about the destination, it's all about the journey, who you become during the journey. So I can help you, encouraging you to grow by celebrating your wins, big or small. You just came on board as an associate. You wrote your first membership. I want to celebrate that. You just made a first call to someone, and you had your first person who said, yes, they'll take a look at the information. I want to celebrate that. All of those little small things add up to be big things. And that helps the person to build confidence in themselves, but it also helps them to be willing to take one step at a time. The only way you can eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So we're just taking one small bite at a time. And before you know it, they look up and now they've eaten the entire elephant. So if that kind of makes any sense to you, and one of the things that I'm wearing 2 hats tonight because I had to be on the Women's Leadership Academy. And one of the things that we talked about was, when new people come on board, the first thing we're throwing at them, we want to get you into the Fast Start training class. We want to get you to advanced product training. We want to get you into small business, small group. We want to do all these different things, and it's too much at one time. We're overwhelming them. And even, this is my opinion, let me just show you one flyer at a time. Let's get you to senior associate. And then let's lay that out. What do we need to do to get you there so that they can visibly see a path? Once we do that, let's now show you the advance to manager. So now they can focus on that. But sometimes we give them too much at one time, and it's so overwhelming that it's too much. Robert, your hand went back up again. Did you?
Yes, indeed. To underscore that, Teresa, we have a wonderful commission structure, and we try and explain all of that at the very beginning. And I think it would be so much better if we stopped it, showed the rest in sort of blanked out a little bit, faint, but stopped at manager and showed them how to get to manager. And I don't think it'd be so overwhelming as it was for me, and I was an engineer, I should have understood that a whole lot better than I did, quote unquote.
But this is a new animal. And so you're right. Even though you may be a project manager and you like schematics and all those different diagrams, most people, they're just overwhelmed at that when they see it. And so just showing them one little small piece at a time now you're wondering, oh my God, all of a sudden my team has got so much success because they're not overwhelmed with so much. Now, some people are going to run faster than others. And for those people, you make adjustments. But for others who've never done this kind of work before, this is all new to them. They don't have a clue. And then for us, sometimes we're trying to explain things and we forget we've been in for 10, 12, 15, 20 years. They don't know, they don't have a clue what's inside of our head, yet we think, and we know that, but we're explaining things like they actually know, and they don't know. They've never done this before. This is Greek to them. So you got to teach them one Greek alphabet at a time. Alpha, beta, lambda, delta, epsilon. I know my Greek alphabet. Okay. So bottom line, so you got to just teach it to them one bite at a time. They're babies in this business. If someone could stop sharing their screen, please. They're babies. So here's the deal. You would never bring home a brand new born baby and try to feed them steak. Or better yet, you bring home the brand new baby and say, look, I got to go to work. And the milk is over here, your Pampers are over there, and and your pacifiers over there. And if you need anything, just try to hold on as best you can. I'll be back home about 5 o'clock or so. You'll be okay. No, we would probably go to jail for abusing our children. Well, that's what we're doing to our new associates. We're abusing them. Because we're trying to treat them like they've been around for years and they understand this. Even if you've been in another multi-level marketing deal, everything is different. And Legal Shield is a different animal as well. Did that help, Robert?
Mm.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome. Jane, go ahead. Did you have something to add to that?
Well, I was going to say another way to empower people, and I know because this was true for me when I first came into Legal Shield and didn't think that I needed personal development. I was over 50. I'd been around. I've lived, right? Or was I wrong? And I think so. I love sharing something short, small, like our own Lynn Schuster Williams 9 Little Words, or
Oh, yes.
The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, a small book that's something they haven't thought about before. Yeah, so anyway, and just to get them started on this path of the personal development, I don't want to throw Think and Grow Rich in their face right away. That's kind of a big, that's a big chunk. But to start them off in a way that gets them thinking and making them feel positive, I love doing that too.
Okay.
Good
I'll
stuff.
share. So I would like to think, well, empowerment.
You're on mute,
Sorry about
Terry.
that.
There you go.
All right. So we have to start with their mindset. They have to unlearn what they learned. Because everything they know about leadership, empowerment, or whatever it is incorrect. And we have to start with the end in mind. And the end in mind is, yes, we want to get them to whatever destination, but first we have to determine, are they committed to the process? Are they disciplined? Because we're going after a feeling, right? Because this is not a feel-good journey. And they have to understand that there's going to be ebbs and flows. So you have to be disciplined in the process in order to be empowered, because it's about increasing the awareness within them, marrying the desire to get the outcome. It's not between you and them, it's between their awareness and their desire to get where they want to go. So that's how you break this down, because there are intricate elements and movements that make this work. So when you understand these laws and how they operate, we have to understand it from a for a better word, spiritual perspective. You want to use metaphysical, because that's what these laws are. They're spiritual and they're universal and they're timeless. So, because oftentimes when I'm talking to people, whether they're starting their business or, they're not in Legal Shield, because, sometimes, when I'm talking to people, they already have something going. They're negative about their own business because their mind is not trained to be developed in these qualities. So, so I like to look at, what it is, are they committed to the process, and they have to be disciplined, because that's what we're going for. Are you disciplined? Are you focused? Are you coachable? Things of that nature is what I'm looking for when we're talking about these different types of laws.
That's good, Daria. But I would say to you, I agree 100% with everything you said. But one thing, when you're dealing with a brand new person that's never been in this arena, that they have to develop that discipline muscle, because they don't just come here with it. So it takes time. And given that it takes time, it also means we have to be patient with them too.
Right.
Because they're not going to know and understand. We tell people, ask questions, but don't question, because we know we're going to teach them to follow a system, but it takes time for them to develop that muscle so that they can have a better understanding. And then once they develop that muscle, they can also duplicate a system, which makes it a lot easier as well.
Because growing is very painful. I don't care if it's a butterfly, if it's a snake, It doesn't matter what it is. That's why they call it stretch marks, growing pains. If that was the case, everybody would be doing it. You don't see a lot of people in the gym. You don't see a lot of people running the marathon. You don't see a lot of people doing a lot of things because they don't have the discipline to do it and stick, or that stick-to-itiveness. This is a journey. This is an internal battle between their mind and their heart, because they say one thing and they do another. So that's why I was sharing. They have to unlearn first. Then they can incorporate what we're trying to instill in them. Until that happens, you're up against a brick wall, or you're pushing a purple elephant up a hill. I work in education, and I study a lot too on manifestation. So there's different levels before this empowerment comes into play. There's levels that take place before this even comes into play.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for sharing. So before I say anything, Brenda, your hand was up.
No, I was just gonna interject that getting people to read, because most people come to business have not been a network marketer. And like Jane said, personal development, people only know what personal development is. And just to get them to start reading, because people don't read once they, get out of college or high school. So that was just to me a challenge.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I know in the Ladies of Justice we talk about a lot is about elevating and empowering women. And I mean, the same thing can be for men. We want to elevate and empower you. And the way that you're doing that is you're lifting them up. You're helping them. If they say, this is what I want to do, okay, let's talk about how are we going to get there? How do you see yourself getting there? And we're kind of helping them to fill in the gaps, and you're taking it little by little. So, you're absolutely right. The personal development is so key. And I have to say, had it not been for the personal development, I probably wouldn't be here right now, because what I didn't realize, the company that John and Darcy and me and Cliff and several others we were in prior to coming over here, it was about personal development. It was the People's Network. It was personal development inside your home on your it was Prime Star, which is now known as DirecTV. But we had that personal development coming into our home on a daily basis, and we were watching it, and it was getting inside of us. And although we weren't making any money at all, y'all, can I tell y'all, we didn't make no money, but we were so committed to what we were doing. But we didn't realize that we were being, God was what's the word I want to say? He was grooming us. He was preparing us for the next chapter, which was prepaid legal. Had we not had that in us, that personal development, some of us would have quit because of some of the challenges. But because we did, we're here today. Many of us are still here today because of it. So that's huge. But I'm going to ask y'all to let's flip the script a little bit. Let's talk about, as a leader, now, instead of focusing on the new associate so much, but you as a leader, how can leaders overcome their own insecurities to effectively empower others? Any thoughts there? I'll give you one. They can recognize that empowering others doesn't diminish their own value. When you help team members grow, you actually enhance your leadership impact. Anybody else want to add to that?
I certainly would love to answer to that. Miss Johnson, thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Miss Rachel.
Well, in this company, and in like anything else, that you can share your knowledge, not just with your recruits that you personally sponsor and recruit, but you had to share with others too, because there's people like me that started that didn't have any leadership. I didn't have any upline. I didn't know where to go. I didn't even know there was a meeting. When I found the meeting, I was like, holy crap. I said, we do this every week. And I was there every week as soon as I knew about it. So, and it takes us that like to share that with someone else. And there really is, it's a great feeling, but it's like something you don't want to have for you want your children to have more than you have. These are children. These are all my kids in my family. And they're my brothers and my sisters. I want them to have more than what I got. So I think that's all I got to say.
I would like
That's
to,
good.
I
Oh,
would like
I
to-
just wanted to say, go ahead, you go first.
I would like to say, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
How can leaders overcome their insecurities to effectively empower others?
First, you have to be vulnerable. We're all human and nobody has the perfect elixir, right? So being vulnerable is about being open to the exposure, you know, good, bad, and indifferent, because you have to, we can't be biased to just, you know, to the upswings. We have to take it all in. Like you said, we're being groomed. So Legal Shield is actually a catalyst for you to change, because it's going to expose areas of your life that are dark and that are light. Now, the dark parts are the ones that we need to improve upon, because when they say when the student is ready to teach, we're a peer. So we focus too much on the business, but we need to focus what the business is trying to teach us first and foremost. Number two, when you look at you know, my favorite classic movie is The Wizard of Oz, and Dorothy represented determination. So we have to look at, okay, what is our supernatural power, right? That we can bring to the forefront, and then we can collect along the way what she did. She collected what? Courage, heart, and you got to have some brains. Because I've seen dumb leadership. I see, when I say advanced degrees, name it. I don't follow them and I don't listen. Now, I do it in a quiet way. So when I look at The Wizard of Oz, we don't worry about how something's going to happen. We just have to follow and just listen and continue the path, because there are going to be ebbs and flows along the way. So when we're communicating with our new associates, we also have to tell stories and break it down in terms of why this is happening, because it's teaching you something in the process, because that's what it's showing you. Oftentimes we overlooked the signals, the symbols, or whatever it is that's showing up. What is it saying to me? Because I always ask myself, what is this teaching me? Because that's what's happening. And it's quiet, and that's why they call it revelations in the Bible, even though I don't practice Christianity, because it's for your eyes only. So everybody's journey is very unique. It's not the same as others. So that's why we can't compare. As somebody else mentioned, we can't compare our journey to other people, because we, like you said, we don't know where they're coming from, and their background is fraught with different experiences. So that's why I was sharing that they first have to empty out some of those experiences, because some of them came from their childhood, and hopefully they have healed from that, some of those traumas and dramas, because some people are very dramatic and traumatic. I'm like, that's negative energy. But anyway, that's just where we're at. So I think vulnerability is important, because you're opening yourself up to them and letting them know, I'm here, I understand where you're coming from, because we want to let them know that we grew from an unhealthy place as well. And that's where the process that they're going to grow through, and we can share with them and educate them along the way. What is it that they're experiencing, so they have a better understanding and they can take hold of that.
Okay, thank you, Daria. All right, I see Michael's hand up.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff to discuss. You know, what I'm thinking is, and first of all, we have to recognize that we are constantly evolving. Okay, I mean, each day, each moment, we are constantly evolving. Every interaction we have with another person, we're going to get different responses. It's going to bring different things out in us. You know, the more we observe who they are, you know, you have to kind of say to yourself, how much time do I want to spend when trying to change somebody to do something. We have a process in Legal Shield that's been working for years, and a person comes in and we interact with them, and then we make a decision on whether we want to stay and play or run away. Basically, because a person can either want to grow or not want to grow. And you get to determine that kind of right away based on their responses. You can try to overcome that now and say, okay, how do I navigate this to make them to see? You can't make them see. They have to see. You can point out the information to them, and you can become observant, and you can see which direction they're going in. But you can't spend but so much time on it, because you can't change people. You can't change them.
Good point, Michael. All right, Darren.
Yeah, great points, guys. Ms. Johnson, Dara, you guys really inspired me. I'm taking a whole bunch of notes. So I'm just thinking about ourselves as individuals, working on ourselves and knowing that we go through the healing process for ourselves, that we can stay stoic. So even if they don't get it now, we're still here. Like Ms. Johnson said, how many of the leaders have left even when they seen great experience in the companies, because there was still something missing within them that wasn't caught, because they seen the success, but they didn't see the inside thing. We work inside out, not outside in. So they got to see the status and the income and stuff like that, but there still was a child that somewhere was in there that was lost. That was certain that they were crying out for, looking for that attention somewhere else, seeking it. And I really believe the best thing to do is to work in the quiet, in those quiet spots. My acronym for my name is DARK, Duran Antoine Rodriguez Colbert. So the dark light is very real. I grew up on the shore, so I'm used to the lighthouses and everything like that. So we have to become a beacon, but the only way we can become that beacon is by either that light is off, it's dim, or it gets brighter, and it continues to get brighter. Maybe it's dim one day because of the fog. So what do we do to brighten it? And this is the process that I'm working through. My business workout partner is Mr. Ian Valine on the call here now, and he's inspired me through our group call on the mastermind with Think and Grow Rich to even record myself, not just audibly, but physically, to see myself, because he wakes up to that guy in the future every single day. He can't wait. He doesn't matter. He tells me, I don't care if I only got 2 hours of sleep. I can't wait to get up and meet that guy in the morning. I think whatever we're doing to work on ourselves, work even harder, because we're going to build multi-billion-dollar businesses here in Legal Shield. We're in this for the long haul. We're not putting. We're going down. We're driving, right, Ms. Brenda? We're driving this thing. This is the long game. We're playing the long game. So I really believe that if we can just continue to work on ourselves, because a lot of times that person, we're attracting the people who we are, or some of the things we still have going on with us.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time we're recruiting the level we're at, maybe a couple steps up. A lot of times we're recruiting down. If we build ourselves up, we can even recruit higher. So I really believe it's an inside job. I think we rob the vault every time we go in there with courage, just to fight and see what's going on inside that inner child, because I'm still a child and I love it. I love it, but I'm still an adult as well. So thank you guys for allowing me to share. Man, I can't wait to go back and listen to this one. Back over to you guys.
This business.
I wanted to say that you said something about shining that light, and we have to always remember that a candle loses nothing by lighting another.
Right.
And that's something that we have to remember as leaders. When we help other people to shine, we shine too.
Right.
Because as a leader, they're on your team, and when they win, you win.
Mhm.
So it's not like it's a team, it's a one-person sport. No, everyone would like to. I mean, for me, being able to sit in the audience and watch my team members go across the stage and be recognized at the convention, I sit there like a proud mama because I'm so excited more for them. One of my favorite quotes by Zig Ziglar is that when you help people get what they want, you get what you want as well. And so if they are winning, we all win together. And that's what we have to remember about empowering people, empowering, letting them know that they can do X, Y, Z. Maybe you're lacking in some skills to be able to really do it comfortably, but the more we do it, the more comfortable we can get with it. And so it may mean having to do a little bit of studying, or you want to be a better recruiter. Maybe you need to align yourself with someone that recruits a lot, so that you can kind of see what it is that they're doing, so that you can sharpen your axe and you can get better at what you want. It's one thing to read it in a book, but it's another thing to actually do it. And we can't be afraid to make a mistake either, because that's how we learn. Failing Forward, another book by John C. Maxwell. That's how we learn. That's why 409 is called 409, because it took 408 times before they got the formula right. And so the same thing here. Maybe you missed senior director by $50, but next month you exceeded senior director by $100. So, it's a journey, it's a process. And we have to be willing to be on that journey. And we have to be willing to do whatever it takes, because it's not just about us. We set the way for our team. We cannot tell our team, I need you to be in Performance Club, but you're not in Performance Club. So we have to set the example. And if we set the example, they'll follow, like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So we have to be willing to do what it takes, because we're leading an organization, we're leading a team, and everybody's not going to follow. I get it.
No.
I get that. They're not. Some people are going to come with their own brilliant ideas, and you just let them do it, because they're the CEO of their own major corporation. But sooner or later, I promise you, they're going to come back and say, you know what? I tried to do it my way. Now I'm ready to be coachable. And at that point, you don't say, well, I told you so, you should have. No, the conversation is, no problem. Let's see what we need to do so you can win. So we have to be there to support them, because most people don't get support. They don't get support at home. They don't get support in their work environment. It's a dog eat world, but not here in Legal Shield. When you win, we all win. So those are my comments.
Said, Teresa.
Very well said.
That was great.
All right.
So we need to start wrapping it up. John tries to keep us at half hour, so we've done a great job.
Yeah. 45 minutes at best, but yeah, we probably do need to end. I think the next chapter is the law of reproduction.
No, the picture.
Oh, what are y'all?
The law of the
Big
picture.
Oh, my book is so off then. Okay, the law of the big picture.
This is
Okay.
It'll be chapter 13, the law of the picture.
Okay.
Some books may have it a little differently.
And it's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the law of big picture is very good.
Yeah, Michael, you just brought us back to where we were at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, well then
All right.
let's read that chapter for next week and be prepared to have our discussion. Thank you guys for being on today. Thank you for all your amazing comments. Wow.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Right here, y'all are powerful.
Thank you, Teresa. You
No.
guys did
I
great.
appreciate everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a dandy
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
evening.
Folks, good night.
Bye-bye.